ARC has a long history in GIS. I just had to email and find out what our customer number is. It's 961, which means we started basically in the 1980s using GIS resources in our work as a metropolitan planning organization and as an RDC. Two quick images to show you how we take GIS tools and turn them into real-world data for our decision makers, because that's a critical thing for us, is making sure that our policy leaders have the best information possible to make the big decisions that we make here at the ARC. The scale of the decision making related to, say, transportation planning can be on the orders of $50 to $55 billion for the last regional transportation plan, and GIS is so ingrained into our system that we don't even think about it as an individual identity. We have some core functions here, and wrapped in all of these is GIS, over and over again, from our population estimates, where we use it for geocoding, employment estimates, where we do small area employment numbers, down to the traffic analysis zone, which is a subset of a census tract. All depend on our GIS resources, be they the actual software and our staff, to make these products work for our decision makers. Also, long-range forecasting. Again, our core data products as they relate to GIS are fundamental inputs into the long-range forecasting that we do here at the ARC. How does this all play out? And one of the critical ideas I wanted to get across today was that for us, it's not just about making data and publishing it on a website. It's about using that data and analyzing it and producing real-world publications that people actually read. This is a regional snapshot. We orient it towards 4 pages, very simple, on one specific issue. Almost every one of our snapshots now depends on GIS for the analysis that we do. It's the most popular data document at the ARC by a number of people willing to click on it and actually read it. So we're really leaning on GIS for these tools. Global Atlanta Snapshots, I'm going to show you a website for that. This is our core data set, LandPro, a fundamental input into our forecasting. We use it to do a special snapshot on land consumed in this region, given that we're always known as the sprawl capital. Photo interpretation to make it at the 20-county scale now, 10 counties more than our RDC. But again, we're leveraging those data resources for forecasting, to understand how things are changing to inform our policy decision makers. I'll give you an example of how we actually rectify that data. This is one of our favorite photographs. You can actually see I-285 going underneath the newest runway, Atlanta-Hartsfield. So how do you classify that? Is it mixed use? Because you've got an interstate going over basically the runway. So what do you do with that? So that's the kind of work we do here at the ARC. And this is what it translates to. How much land do we have left in our region? That's how we leverage GIS resources. Beyond just publishing them for our local governments, we actually analyze the data into something that people can understand and use to make decisions. So you can see the change, and this is a fundamental thing for us, is how much land do we have left in the region. Wouldn't be able to do it without good GIS resources. We make maps for everything we possibly can, from ethnicity to population change. You can see on the right small area employment data, very critical for us for our forecasting, to ethnic mapping, which we have a special website for. Here's just a fun example for me. This is one of my favorite. It takes a lot of GIS work to come up with this data. This is actually travel demand model schemes reworked and applied to the TAZ to develop a VMT per capita at the traffic analysis zone level, right? So we're taking very complex GIS data and getting it into a format where you can see that people in town drive less than people in ex-urban areas, right? Take GIS and turn it into something people can really use. And that's what we do here at the ARC, and we do a good job of it. This is another one, foreclosure activity. Would you think an RDC would be involved in the foreclosure crisis? Well, if you can do some analysis and you can actually get data from people and don't tell them you've got the data, you can build maps like this that shows concentrations of foreclosures in the region. Then you can go out to the city of Atlanta and tell them that The west side has the highest incidence of foreclosure in the region. Fun stuff. You might have an executive director that wants to know what additional counties will be in his future urbanized area, so he can start to plan to incorporate those counties into our planning processes here. So if you've got somebody like Paul DiGirolamo, you can actually take ESRI data, morph it to 2010, and develop a hypothetical future urbanized area based on growth trends to help our policymakers know where it's likely that we're going to grow in the future. Right? Nobody in the U.S. has done anything like this. You might be in the middle of a water crisis and have to do reservoir analysis for the North Georgia Metropolitan Water Planning District and give them some data to work with where they can start to look for future potential reservoir sites, something we use our data resources for. Just another image to show you that. Turns out we couldn't build a GIS model that would be as good as Pat Stevens, our Director of EPD with 25 years of experience to find future reservoir sites, because we're actually in a lot of trouble on this. We need water. Another one, a fundamental part of our work, we have to do those small area forecasts that feed the travel demand model. So we've taken GIS tools to another level. We hired a consultant to actually build us a tool within ArcMap. And the short story is to take big regional forecasts, weight based on proximity analysis using spatial analysts, and allocate future population and employment down to the small area, 5-acre polygon. Automating a process that I honestly used to do basically by hand in Excel. You can see the tool that he's built within ArcMap. This will be a tool that any local government will be able to use. So not only do we make data here, now we're building tools to help do the work more efficiently. Just to give you an idea of some of the routines to check how well that model's physically running. The calibration procedure is unique among all others around the U.S. And again, calibration. I love calibration. Calibration means that our models are believable, right? Another tool we built for GDOT, one of our staff persons actually programmed this up. This is a feature edit tool that automatically attributes new line segments based on road characteristics. This is something GDOT fundamentally wanted. It's a tool that anybody can have now that we built for our local governments that allows them, instead of having to go back and attribute line features, you can pre-program it based on your own road characteristics. Absolutely speeds up drawing of streets in the simplest sense. We're very proud of this tool. Give you an example of how that actually works, and so you can see how you would attribute those line segments and the features you'd get to choose. So if you're in a local government and you want this tool, just email me. We'd be happy to give it to you. We want you to use it. GDOT definitely wants you to use it. More GIS resources, probably the most complicated thing we're doing right now, which is validating an allocation routine we built with our newest model, the PECAS model, Production Exchange Consumption Allocation System model, the future of our forecasting work. Again, what this basically shows you is how that model spatially attributes land use types based on total jobs and households, and I know this is complicated, to the parcels, Fulton being the biggest county with the number of parcels, compared to what the assessors actually says for floor space area in that given parcel. So green literally means that our GIS model is matching almost perfectly. So more tools that we're building to do the forecasting work that we're doing. We wouldn't be able to do it without GIS. And the web resources images all sank on your PowerPoint, which is too bad. But the truth is, the other point, what you would see on this image, on my computer, not this laptop, is that we've just built an ArcGIS server website. It's actually live now, though we haven't published it. It has all, the first main website is related to the Regional Transportation Plan, where you can go, zoom in, click on an RTP project and get all the facts about that RTP project, critical part of the ARC's planning work. We're continuing to build those web resources to support our local governments, which is a critical part of the work we do here. So with that said, thank you.